This video is sponsored by Energy Sage. Visit the link in the description to find local verified solar and heat pump experts in your area that can help you get solar on the roof of your home, generate power through a local community solar project, or have a heat pump installed. As regulars to the channel will know, in 2019 I moved into this home with my partner. It's west of Portland in the foothills of the Coast Range, and unlike a lot of rural homes which have tanks in the garden for compressed natural gas or oil heating, this home is 100% cooled and heated by electricity. And while that can be a bit of a pain in the butt when we have a power cut, especially when our backup solution doesn't always work, it's also a great way of ensuring that we have carbon-free heating and cooling in our home. When we first bought the home, it had cadet heaters. Those are resistive in-wall heaters that use electricity to heat up coils within the heater and then have powerful fans that blow the warm air into the room. They're traditionally controlled by a bimetallic thermostat that sits on the wall and has an analog dial. If you want it to get hotter, you turn it to the right, and if you want it to get colder, you turn it to the left. Bear in mind that these units only operate for heating. They don't offer any cooling functionality. And while they do turn 100% of the electrical energy that they consume into heat energy, they're not necessarily the most cost-effective heating solution out there. To try and mitigate some of the cost concerns, my partner and I replaced those bimetallic strips with Mysas. No, I'm not talking about Jar Jar Binks. I'm talking about Mysa, a smart thermostat by a Canadian company from the same name. The smart thermostats replaced the original bimetallic strips, and they gave us internet-connected thermostats that we could use in our home to both monitor and control the temperature in each room where they were fitted, but also gave us an at-a-glance idea of exactly how much electricity we were using. But in our quest to be more energy efficient, a couple of years ago we replaced our old cadet in-wall heaters and the Mysa thermostats with a heat pump system, specifically heat pumps made by Mitsubishi Electric. Normally, in a house, you would just have one heat pump. We ended up having to buy two. One for our server room, where there's a lot of heat generated all the time by the servers that we use here at the channel, and one to heat and cool the rest of the house. Obviously, in the summertime, the heat pump takes heat energy from inside the building and puts it outside, and in the winter, it does the opposite. And because heat pumps just move heat energy around rather than generate it, they can be as much as 3 times as energy efficient as a in-wall heater. Although I know someone in the comment section will say that the in-wall heaters are 100% energy efficient because they turn all of the electrical energy they use into heat. What I mean by that is that for every kilowatt of electrical energy you put into a heat pump system, you generally get about 3 kilowatts of heat energy transfer. So, yay! Less energy used and more heat given, or in fact, more cooling given. But the problem with the heat pump system that we had is that, save for our server room, there's no discrete temperature sensors anywhere in the house. Most of our heat pumps use in-ceiling air handlers. There are a couple of rooms in the house with wall-mounted ones, but the entire system has one big flaw. The temperature sensors for every air handler live inside the air handler themselves, and that can often give us inaccurate readings. It can be a really cold day outside and the air handler will believe that the room is actually quite toasty because of the warm coolant that's being pumped around by the heat pump. And in the summertime, it can do the exact opposite. It can say the room is nice and cool, when in reality it's still quite warm. It's just that the temperature sensor within the air handler is taking a reading right next to pipes that are pretty cold. So in order to solve that, we went back to Mysa, because Mysa has just come out with this. It's been out for about a year now, and it is Mysa's answer to your heat pump woes. It's a smart controller that replaces this. This is what we got with our air handlers, and it's basically on off, and you can have timer functions and all kinds of other things. But the Mysa takes it up one level. We're going to unpack it, and I'm going to give you my verdict because, disclaimer, I bought some of these at the tail end of last year, and while Mysa has sent us 2 review units, which I've got right here, I've already been using this system and I'm already really impressed. The packaging is nicely carried out. It's all recyclable, and inside you get a lovely printed booklet with multiple languages for you to follow. You also get this. This is the Mysa controller. Unlike the previous Mysas that we used, which needed to be mounted on the wall and were much bigger because they were switching mains level power to and from the heating circuits, this just needs a regular household outlet that you plug in the USB cable and obviously the power adapter. Also in the box, you get 2 different mounting options. You get a wall mounting option, which has those 3M adhesive pads if you want to stick it on the wall, or you can use this, which is a lovely weighted base that the Mysa just slots into like so. So let's get it powered up, added to the app, and I can tell you a little bit more about how it works. In order to get your Mysa working with your heat pump, you're going to need a few things. First, you're going to need obviously the Mysa unit. You're going to need your network information so it can connect to your local network. You're also going to need the remote control that came with your heat pump. You're going to need a power source, which is why I have a power strip on my desk, and you also need the Mysa app. And the Mysa app is available for both Apple and Android devices. Because I'm already a Mysa customer and I've already set up some of these thermostats already, I already have the app on my phone. But beside me right now, you'll get a chance to see what my app looks like as we're going through the process. In the Mysa app, you'll already note that I've already added 3 controllers for the Mysa Smart Thermostat, and there's already one there called Garage Thermostat. In case you're wondering, the Garage Thermostat is actually one of the old baseboard heater control units, and I've actually wired it up so that we can run our garage heater directly from this. It's very useful in the winter because my wife can turn it on before she goes down to the woodworking shop at the weekend, and the garage is already ready for her when she heads in there. So if you want to add a new Mysa to your home, you need to go to the top left corner and then click Add Thermostat. It'll ask you if the thermostat is powered on, so the next thing we need to do is plug this in, and as you can see, it's a lovely long cable. You'll see there is a smiley face on the panel, and now we can go and take the next part of the process. So it says, before you continue, is the Mysa installed and powered on? And you can hit yes. You can tell it which home you want to add it to. I actually have 2 identical homes. One used to be my office, one is for my home, and it will ask me to identify what symbol I see on the screen. And you'll see this screen is the second one. And then I can use the HomeKit standard method, or I can use the Mysa standard method. because I'm going to add this to my Home Assistant install, I'm not going to go through the HomeKit standard method, and instead I'm going to go to pair it with the Mysa standard method. So it tells me to stand in front of the Mysa and tap next. I'm sitting. I think it will work. Now, it's already identified that it's the Mysa Smart Thermostat for air conditioners, and that's exactly what this is. So I'm going to tap yes, and then it will smile to confirm, and then I have to pair it with my Bluetooth accessory. Now, it's going to ask me for a name, so I'm going to name it Office Mysa, or rather, let's name it Nikki Office Mysa. Now, it's going to ask me what Wi-Fi network I want to attach this to, and I've already added in my Internet of Things Wi-Fi network details, and the app's remembered it from last time. Obviously, if you're doing this for the first time, you'll have to start from scratch. So I'm going to hit confirm, and it's going to connect my Mysa to the Wi-Fi. This sometimes takes a little while, but it's generally pretty quick. Now you'll see here, this symbol here means that it's connecting to the network and verifying the connection. And in a few minutes, it will normally appear on my network. And if it's anything like the other units we installed a few weeks back, it will also need to download a firmware update. One of the really cool things I like about how Mysa has set up this particular unit is that it gives you on screen some helpful hints about how you can change particular modes of the unit by using the built-in buttons on the side and also using the front panels here. I prefer to use the front panels most of the time, but it's going through a series of screens telling me exactly what the Mysa is saying when it is in a particular mode. And it means that if you happen to lose your internet connection or something happens, you can interact with this directly. And while we're waiting for that, let's go ahead and give you some explanation. While this is an internet connected device, and normally if you have an internet connection, you can use a smartphone app and sometimes even a voice assistant in your home if you set it up to adjust the temperature of each room in your home with a Mysa unit in it. If for some reason the internet connection goes out, as happens here quite regularly, you can still control it manually using this unit, and at that point it operates just like any other remote control. But I think you can tell the design of this compared to this is much more minimalist. There are much fewer buttons, and it does pretty much the same thing, but I know which one of these looks better on the side of a room, and it's not this. As we're still waiting for this to update, it should be finished in about a minute or so. Let's talk about today's video sponsors, Energy Sage. Regular viewers of the channel might know Energy Sage's online marketplace that helps homeowners connect with local, knowledgeable, verified solar installers across the US. But now they offer a very similar heat pump marketplace for select US markets. Enter your address and a few details, no phone number required, and Energy Sage will help you connect with local, pre-vetted installers who can help you navigate the process of getting an energy-efficient heat pump system installed in your home. They'll help you navigate the process of applying for or understanding local incentives, and until you pick an installer to move forward with, the entire process is no obligation on your part. Follow the links below to sign up for either of Energy Sage's free, no-obligation services and get the ball rolling today. If you choose to use an Energy Sage installer for your project, we'll get a small referral fee too, so you'll be helping out the channel. As I predicted, the firmware update is complete, and the app is now going to tell me to hit the next button, which I'm about to do. And what we are now going to do is go through the remote matching process, which, I'm going to be honest, is sometimes a little hit and miss. And for that, I'm going to need this, and I'm going to turn this around because it's going to be using the infrared sensor on the back. The first thing it asks me is my brand of my AC, and so I'm just going to type in Mitsubishi Electric and I'll see it on the list there. And then it's going to ask me to point the remote control at the unit and press the power button, which I just did. Once it's done that, it will ask me to do a couple of different commands, and hopefully then it will be able to figure out what remote control it needs to emulate in order to control my heat pump. Now on this screen, it's going to ask me to select the various features that my heat pump is capable of. I've got a heat, dry humidity, fan and swing. Those are all things that I can do, and I follow to hit next. It now wants me to make sure my AC unit is off, which it now is. I'm going to wait for it to close its vanes, and then we can go on with the next step, which is where this is going to try and control the head unit. On the screen, it's telling me that I have to change the AC mode to cool. So I'm going to hit the power button on the right hand side. I'm going to hit the cool button and hope that the unit responds. It didn't, and so I hit no on the matching panel. And it's going to ask me if I want to try that again or if I want to try the next possible match in the sequence. So I just have to keep doing this until I find one that responds. Now this time, you may not have heard that on camera, but my AC handler went beep and it responded. So it's just turned on and I can say, yes, it responded. Earlier on in the video, I did say that this was the problematic part of the process, and I have found in the past, sometimes I've had to go through this process twice to find the right remote, but it always ends up working just fine. The reason I think that this sometimes takes a couple of attempts to get right is that if you have multiple air handlers in the same home and you have another unit on, which it warns you not to do, sometimes the system doesn't always respond with the command that you're looking for. So right now, my partner is downstairs and she might have the air handler on downstairs heating the room. And if I'm trying to ask this to cool, it's not going to necessarily do what I want it to. But for the most part, this should work just fine. Now I know, having set commands on the other units in the house, which one this is. And so now it's found a match and it's preparing all the available commands that I can send from this phone directly to the air handler unit. I should also note here that the Mitsubishi air handlers that we have the capability to operate using something called Kumo Cloud. Kumo Cloud is Mitsubishi's own Internet of Things control system, and you have to buy a special Wi-Fi dongle that fits inside each of the air handler units. The problem is it's notoriously unreliable, it's constantly dropping offline, and it gives inaccurate readings, as I discussed earlier on in the video. And so I'm really looking forward to getting rid of Kumo Cloud completely and relying just on the Mysa air handling control units to get the job done. Now it's all set up and it's going to allow me to finish the process. Now, one important screen here at the end is that it asks me if I want to use Climate Plus, which is a new feature that Mysa has developed that allows this unit to automatically adjust the temperature based on what it is sensing in the room rather than what the air handler thinks it is. And that's what we've been using here at the house, and it's one of the features that I really, really enjoy. So this has a thermometer inside it, and so it says right now that the temperature in this room is 24 degrees Celsius. I can guarantee that the air handler thinks it's probably 30 degrees Celsius because it always overreads in the winter and underreads in the summer. But having the thermometer away from the air handler means that you get a more accurate temperature reading, and this also controls the temperature to exactly what you want it to be. In other rooms in the house, we have put these where we are going to be sitting. So, for example, my wife has one in her office, and she has her Mysa sitting right next to where she sits at her desk. That means that she's able to accurately set the temperature precisely for what she wants, rather than just a vague idea of where the room should be. I know that I'm sitting at M's desk right now, tends to get colder than I do, so I will probably leave this on their desk. And in the filming studio, which is the other place that we need to install one of these, we'll probably put it where I sit or near where I sit when I'm on camera, because I tend to feel the temperature either as too cold or too hot depending on the season. So that's it. Now, there are some other functions that you can add. So for example, you can set schedules. So you can set this to automatically come on at different times of the day or night. And you'll see right now the Nikki Office Mysa is set to cool, but I can turn it to heat, and I can also set the temperature. Now, I'm going to press the button on my phone here, and I'm going to set it to 18 degrees Celsius. And you'll see here, this is reflecting the set point. And it will only come on when the temperature in this room goes below 18 degrees. It will control the head unit in the ceiling, the air handler, until it is at the correct temperature, and then it will send the off command as if it was this. But it does it all auto magically. I've really enjoyed having a heat pump system in our home, and aside from the initial concerns about exactly what was causing our electricity bill to be higher, as I noted earlier, it was actually the server room. Who knew that when you add more hard drives to a server, it consumes a lot more electricity? I'm actually glad that we've also got these. Now, as I noted, Mysa sent us 2 for review, but I paid for the other 3 that we're using in the house. And I already can't imagine having our AC and heat pump system operating without them. I really don't like these, and I cannot wait to rip the batteries out and put them in a drawer so that if we ever do sell the house, well, maybe the house's future owners would prefer these over the smart and very stylish Mysa. Thanks for joining me today, and if you've got thoughts, make sure you leave them below in our Discord chat room, or you can reach out to us on Mastodon. Thanks to the amazing list of people scrolling by on your screen right now. They are some of the more than 1,500 people who help fund this channel through Patreon and YouTube, covering our bills, paying our team, and making sure that we can be 100% independent. If you'd like to join them and see your name listed here, just follow the links below. There are a range of different tiers you can sign up for, from as little as $1 a month, or if you pay yearly, about $10.08 per year. A huge welcome to our newest supporters: Tantalus A. Bond, Michael Baker, Christopher Lawrence, David J. Stober, Noah Tutak, and Ian Hoffman. To join the list and get your shout out, become a paid Patreon member for your week of fame. If you'd like to support us with a one-off donation, you'll find links below to make Ko-fi and Bitcoin donations, and we even have an old-fashioned PO box you can reach us at, address also below. And if you're in need of some swag, you'll find our swag store in the down below. This month, we're celebrating electric for everyone with an amazing new t-shirt design by our in-house artist and animator, Erin. Get yours today by heading to our Redbubble store. We've got some fantastic content coming up, so make sure you're subscribed on PeerTube or YouTube, and we'll see you very soon. We make new videos every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. If you want more, the mighty algorithm thinks you'll like this video, but we all think that this one is also well worth a look. See you soon, and as always, keep evolving.